this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. CFTC Commissioner Caroline Pham has been publicly calling out Kim Jong-Gensler for his terrible and offensive approach to crypto, and now it just so happens that today she visited Ripple's headquarters, presumably to learn about crypto, blockchain, the fintech space, and wouldn't it all be surprised if there are some specifics discussed about how Ripple's positioning XRP as a bridge currency? Why wouldn't that come up? Now, like most people, like most people in the world of crypto, I do think the vast majority of cryptocurrencies are commodities and should be regulated by the CFTC. I kind of get the sense here that CFTC Commissioner Caroline Pham feels the same. And she is not a fan of Gary Gensler, at least, and I'm not insinuating that it's a personal thing for her, but in terms of Kim Jong-Gensler's policy, she has publicly, again, been calling him out. So I want to share with you a bit about what had been said about this visit, as well as some of her comments regarding Kim Jong-Gensler. But don't be surprised if at some point in the future, it is the CFTC that has the power to regulate XRP specifically. But before going further, I do want to be clear. I do not have a legal or financial background of any kind. I am not offering legal or financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Now, I'll tell you, the contrast between how the CFTC is communicating and working with Ripple versus historically how the SEC has quote-unquote worked with Ripple and communicated in the past prior to the lawsuit. What a stark contrast. There is no comparison. So let me set the table for you just a little bit so you can get a feel for where Caroline Pham is coming from. And then we can talk about what this might mean moving forward for XRP and the broader crypto asset class. You can take a look at this article. I actually covered this when this occurred over the summer, July 22nd of this year. There's a headline from the Crypto Basic. Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse says the SEC prefers to operate in the dark. And it's not just about him. Check this out. Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple, has commended CFTC Commissioner Caroline D. Pham for calling out the Securities and Exchange Commission over its crypto regulatory approach. So think about this. She obviously knows that Brad Garlinghouse applauded her for calling out Gary Gensler, and months later she's standing in Ripple's office getting a tour. Piece continues. The Ripple CEO took to Twitter to describe the comments made by Commissioner Pham as powerful. And here's a quote. "Powerful words from Commissioner Pham. Regulatory clarity comes from being out in the open, not in the dark," end quote. So that's a tweet, and it's on your screen right now if you want to take a gander at it. I remember covering that again at the time this happened, and I thought, oh, this is nice. It's because look, it's good to see. Look, as ridiculous and offensive as the SEC's existence is, it's good to know that not every government agency is necessarily going to respond as ridiculously as the SEC. Anyway, piece continues. Yesterday, Commissioner Pham slammed the Securities and Exchange Commission's lawsuit against Ishan Wahi et al. And I'll just pause to note as a reminder, this is the SEC v. Wahi case, in which there were claims of a former Coinbase employee, that's Wahi, engaging in insider trading along with a couple other people. And in that claim, they said that 9 of the cryptocurrencies that were traded via insider trading were actually unregistered securities, investment contracts. Now, they didn't sue any firms or anybody that created them. No, not at all. They just made the claim. They threw a little bomb out there, and they just said, there it is. And then they're going after Wahi specifically. And so there is no recourse because, again, since they're not suing anybody that created those cryptocurrencies, hey, whatever happens, happens. And whatever that does in terms of precedent and public sentiment, that's just what's going to happen here. But check this out. The piece continues. Commissioner Pham argued that the allegations... Oh, I'm sorry, I missed a sentence. She described the lawsuit as another example of the SEC's adoption of the regulation by enforcement approach. Commissioner Pham argued that the allegations leveled by the SEC against Wahi could have severe future consequences beyond the case if not addressed by policymakers. And here's the quote. Major questions are best addressed through a transparent process that engages the public to develop appropriate policy with expert input. Through notice and comment rulemaking pursuant to the Administrative Procedure Act, End quote. So that's from Commissioner Pham. So setting aside the insider trading allegations, and the portion that specifically rings true in terms of, hey, this is regulation by enforcement, the aspects where there are claims about specific cryptocurrencies being securities themselves. It's the same crap that they've been doing, going after Library, going after Ripple, going after Dragon Chain, you name it. It's exactly what they're doing. So then fast forward to today, though, and you get this headline from Cointelegraph. CFTC Commissioner visits Ripple offices as decision in SEC case looms. Caroline Pham, one of 5 commissioners at the United States Commodity Futures Trading Commission, or CFTC, met with Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse ahead of a court decision which could affect how regulators handle XRP tokens. In a Monday tweet, Pham said she visited Ripple Labs offices as part of a learning tour involving crypto and blockchain. Garlinghouse later tweeted that the commissioner's visit was related to public-private engagement, likely referring to a privately funded company like Ripple engaging with U.S. regulators. And I'll show you the exact tweets before moving any further. So there's a picture that Caroline Pham shared on her official Twitter account, and she wrote, the next stop on my learning tour was visiting Ripple Labs. Thanks, and then tagged Brad Garlinghouse, hashtag XRP. Yes, the CFTC chair commissioner wrote hashtag XRP, hashtag crypto, hashtag blockchain. And then Brad Garlinghouse retweeted that and wrote, an absolute pleasure to welcome you to our officers, Commissioner Caroline Pham. Public-private engagement. So there you go. What do you know? Somebody at the, towards the top of the CFTC, obviously, part of a government agency, meeting with a private company. Isn't it nice? Isn't it nice to not be getting sued into oblivion by the CFTC? Not that would happen. I think that's not in the cards here. But that's why I keep saying, like, anybody with half a brain, they can understand that what the SEC is doing is completely redonkulous, and they're not going to win because they're wrong on the facts and they're wrong on the law. They're on the wrong side of history on this. Anyway, the piece continues, though, from Cointelegraph. The timing of Pham's visit had many on social media reacting to the CFTC's approach in engaging with crypto firms and token projects when compared to that of the Securities and Exchange Commission, or SEC. On Saturday, the SEC and Ripple both filed motions for summary judgment in a case alleging that the firm's XRP sales violated securities laws. The case has been ongoing since December 2020, and the outcome of the SEC case could influence which federal regulator might play a greater role in handling the XRP token as a commodity or security. Garlinghouse claimed on Saturday that the SEC wasn't interested in applying the law and alleged the regulator sought to expand their jurisdiction far beyond the authority granted to them by Congress. And so lots of people, including myself here in the XRP community, happy to speculate on what this is, and a lot of the speculation that I've seen is pretty damn reasonable, honestly. It seems probable that when everything is shaken out, and we see the conclusion of all this, will not be remotely surprised if XRP, and pretty much every other crypto on the planet, falls under the jurisdiction of the CFTC, but there is no guarantee of this. There's a lot of politics behind this, power struggles, all this, so it's still reasonable speculation, though. And it does seem like that would be the proper home, unless you think that it makes more sense to create a new government agency to regulate crypto specifically. And I hate that idea. We do not need more government. Look at how well it's working out so far with the SEC. Yeah, let's get more of that. I do not believe that more government is a solution when it comes to stuff. I've said my piece on that before, so I don't really want to get into it further in this particular video, but it's got to be one or the other, right? I mean, I'd rather have a new government agency than the SEC in its current form, having any sort of power over it. But again, I don't want a new agency. Anyway, piece continues. Under Chair Gary Gensler, the SEC has pursued many enforcement actions against crypto project and related areas. The regulatory body labeled 9 tokens as crypto asset securities, falling under its purview in July. A complaint against a former Coinbase product manager, prompting criticism from Pham at that time. So that's what I shared with you at the beginning part of the video. So, look, there's so many reasons to be optimistic for the future. The SEC is clearly on the wrong side of history. That's the only government agency that's truly being problematic for, the life of XRP holders at this particular moment in time anyway. So once this is all settled, you know, crypto is going to find a home in terms of, who's the governing agency over it. And for most cryptocurrencies, I don't think it's going to be the SEC. I mean, there may be a perfectly reasonable instance you could bring up. I don't know exactly what it would look like, where somebody just wants to create what will always be a centralized cryptocurrency, and there is some sort of contract, like because again, you can package anything as it. So I'm not saying there couldn't hypothetically be, but if you look at the way that cryptocurrencies have made it out into the wild and onto secondary markets, the transactions are in secondary markets, I think it's pretty damn clear that cryptocurrencies, by the nature of them existing, certainly not securities. To me, it seems like the case law on that was settled many, 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 many decades ago, but here we are having this conversation. So, it is what it is. Let me know what you think below. You got any fun little speculation in terms of what this might be, what this might mean? I'd love to hear it. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.